I'm here with Congressman Doug Lamborn of Colorado. Congratulations on your latest award, straight A scorer on our rating. Pete Sepp with National Taxpayers Union here. One of the pleasant tasks we have on Capitol Hill is handing out our annual Taxpayers Friend Awards associated with NTU's annual rating of Congress. We had 55 winners of the award this year, 45 in the House and 10 in the Senate. These are given to folks who consistently vote for the interests of taxpayers rather than special interests. Let's go hand out some awards. We're here with Congressman Jason Chaffetz, a straight A winner on National Taxpayers Union's annual rating of Congress based on every roll call vote affecting federal spending. Congratulations on your latest award, Congressman. This is becoming a great tradition. Tell us, what is your philosophy when it comes to fiscal policy, and how does that come through in your everyday voting record?
Well, thank you. It's an honor. I think I've now cast over 3,500 votes, and I think every time you approach that voting booth, you've got to think about when you spend money, what you're doing in essence is you're pulling money from one person's wallet and you're giving it to somebody else. And if you kind of have that perspective, then I think that's, at least for me, is the guide to say, is this a proper use of federal dollars? And all too often, we overspend, we overtax, we're wasting money, but I want to try to get that right. So it's an honor to be recognized for those efforts.
Well, it's our pleasure to present this award. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thanks very much. Appreciate it.
We're here today with Congressman Paul Brown, who is a straight A winner on National Taxpayers Union's annual rating of Congress based on every roll call vote affecting fiscal policy. Congratulations once again for a job well done, Congressman. Tell us, what do you think are the most important fiscal policy issues facing Congress today?
I've never voted for a tax increase on anybody. We should not be raising taxes on anybody in this country. In fact, I believe we should lower taxes. I believe if 10% is good enough for the Lord, it ought to be good enough for Uncle Sam. But to do that, we're going to have to shrink the size and scope of government. And that's exactly what I'll continue to fight for as long as the people of Georgia continue to send me here to Washington.
Outstanding. Congratulations again,
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
We're here with Congressman John Fleming of Louisiana, speaking about his Taxpayers Friend Award associated with National Taxpayers Union's annual rating of Congress based on every roll call vote affecting fiscal policy. First of all, Congressman, congratulations for winning this award. Tell us, please, about some of your views about what's going on in Congress right now with the debt ceiling, continuing resolution, tax reform, a lot of issues out there taxpayers should care about.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, the important thing that we conservatives recognize is that as government grows larger, the private sector grows smaller. Business formation, job opportunities, pay, the wage, part-time versus full-time employment, all that diminishes. So for me, it's extremely important that we reduce the tax burden on hard-working taxpayers. But in order to do that, we also have to get our fiscal house in order. We have to be disciplined, and the federal government needs to spend less money and to tax Americans at a lower rate. And that's why I'm a big supporter of tax reform, simplification, lower tax rates down to 1 or 2 rates on an income tax level, and to reduce a lot of the preferential treatment for various deductions and so forth, and really make it a simple sort of consideration for most Americans. Maybe they could, you know, the 90% of Americans could actually fill out their tax form by themselves on one page, and I think that would be a very strong pro-growth effect on the economy, and you would begin to see employment increasing, you would begin to see more business formation, wage would rise, more benefits, and more opportunities for Americans to enjoy a higher and increasing lifestyle.
I'm here with Congressman Doug Lamborn of Colorado. He has been a straight A winner of the Taxpayers Friend Award ever since he came to Congress, one of the top scorers, in fact, on National Taxpayers Union's annual rating of Congress based on every roll call vote affecting federal spending. But roll call votes aren't the only thing that a member of Congress does. Authorship and sponsorship of legislation count for a lot too. And Congressman Lamborn has come through shining on that front as well by sponsoring almost $600 billion in annual spending reductions. Explain to us the importance of sponsoring these kinds of reductions at this point.
Well, what I think people sometimes forget is that they work for the taxpayer. They don't work for special interests. We need to hear all the information before we vote, but ultimately it comes down to supporting and representing the individual citizen taxpayer. And if you remember that, you're going to want to go easy on their wallet so that they keep the money that they earn and support their own family and live their own life. Government is too big at all levels. Here at the federal government in Washington, we need to do a better job of getting our spending under control so that people can live their lives and support their families better.
Well, and nearly $600 billion in reductions on an annual basis, that would pretty much wipe out the federal deficit. And I think it's an interesting commentary and an argument against those who say you can't possibly get the federal deficit down to a manageable level in a short amount of time. But you've managed to do that through your legislation that you've sponsored or co-sponsored.
Well, when you take a stand, it's not easy because you get criticized from those who will be left out of the spending that you want to get under control. But it's so important. It's important for people's freedom and liberty to have more of their hard-earned resources to live their own lives with instead of turning it over to government. And the economy is better. People know how to spend their money. The private sector knows how to spend its own money better than bureaucrats do. So we would have a better economy, more freedom and liberty, higher standard of living if people could keep more of their own money.
Absolutely. Thank you for being a taxpayer's friend, Congressman Lamborn, and for all the work you do day in and day out for fiscal responsibility.
You're sure welcome.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
We're here in the office of Congressman David Schweiker, who has just won a Taxpayers Friend Award for his unwavering commitment to taxpayers, reducing the burden of government on everyday Americans. He is a straight A scorer on our rating, which is based on every single roll call vote affecting federal spending. Thank you for being with me.
Yeah, though I wish I was a straight A student in all my, never mind. Well, look, we struggle to try to come up with an idea that changes the way Washington thinks, where they always think spend, 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 overspend, we'll just borrow it.
Yes.
There are alternatives, and the reality we're going to have to deal with entitlements. We need to do that yesterday. But how about when we're going to the markets and saying we have to borrow this much? Why do we always do it the way we do? So there's been this discussion of, okay, interest is a built obligation. Why don't you exempt interest so there's never a discussion of default? But the remaining portion, you do realize your government has several $trillion of assets. Much of it is quite liquid. So why would we be going to the debt markets? If you're a supply side economist, the basic belief system is you don't borrow money when you also have assets that you could put back into the private sector and let those assets actually multiply in the growth of the economy. If it's about growing the economy, I think our approach is a much more rational one.
Yes, that's the most ironic part of this. If we want more revenues coming into the Treasury without raising tax rates, this is the ideal way to do it.
Very much so. And the beauty of it is by doing it this way, you don't build something called additional debt.
Yes.
And every time we issue more debt, we're going to pay interest on it. We're subject to the debt markets. What will future interest rates be? By doing this, we get rid of that future exposure of an unknown interest rate market.
Congressman, thank you
Thank
for
you. This is
all the
always
work
fun.
you do.